Welcome to Flip Your Lid with Kim Honeycutt. Kim is a psychotherapist and executive director of ICU Talks, a mental health speaking ministry. This is a podcast about how to flip your lid and learning how to reconnect to who you really are.
Well, hey, Flip Your Lid audience. It's been a little while since I have done this. I appreciate y'all tolerate my 6-month break. It's what marriage does to you. Priorities change. And I would not want to re-engage with all of you, with anyone else than besides Ana Del Castillo. She and I have been friends for, I don't know, maybe we were 5 years old. Okay, whatever.
By the way, I have a Snagglepuss laugh right now because I have allergies. So
Right.
if you hear me like doing a Snagglepuss laugh, it's because
We like it. I like that. I think
that's
it's
what's
cute.
going on. Yeah.
So Anna and I go way back. We met in the rooms of a type of therapy called peer. It's a community that allows people to actually release their emotions instead of recycling them, where people are allowed to identify emotions and past experience and release them in a very creative way. And
Yeah.
so back then, we're talking like 15 years?
Yeah.
Like, that
Minimum.
was new. That was not
Yeah.
nearly as, and thank
Yeah.
God it's more understood now. So, but she is with us. She has a huge following on Instagram and TikTok and all the things, and she's constantly out there just putting out information to people for free. And so she gets to do that today for the Flip Your Lid audience. So
Hello.
thank you.
Thank you for having me on here and for reconnecting. I love seeing you,
Yeah.
getting to talk.
Yeah, I love seeing you. It's all good. So I'm going to ask you the first question, which everyone knows is coming. So here we go. So, Anna, what happened in your life that your lid got flipped? What flipped your lid, and what measures have you had to take to reconnect to who you actually are?
Well, when I think of that question, I think of two events in my life. The first one was um, I was, growing up in my very challenging family, and I'd always wanted
Mm.
to be an actress and a singer. This is not necessarily the really like. I mean, there was certainly a lot of tragic shit that happened when I. Is it okay if I curse, by the way, on this? If not.
Hell no. Of
It's a
course
lot
it
of
is.
tragic shit that happened in my life
Yeah.
growing up
Yeah.
and, blah, blah, blah. But I remember at some point I wanted to be an actress and a singer. It was the only thing. I was really a kid that never spoke. I was a mute
Mm.
kid, if you ever heard of the
Mm.
expression of the
Mhm.
mute kid, who's just in
Mhm.
so much trauma that they don't speak.
Yep.
So I was a mute kid. But when I saw something about theater, like I was like, oh my God, I could actually express myself in a way that was safe. And
Mhm.
so my dad never wanted me to be an actress and a singer. And I was going to be, I had graduated from school and my life was set up to go in a certain direction, and I was like,
Mm.
"F that shit."
Yeah.
And I uh, went and auditioned for something in New York, not a show, but for a school. Said that, listen, I want to do this for the rest of my life, and then I just ended up my life went in a
Mm.
completely different direction. But
Mm.
the more dramatic one that was that. Um, Another really really large dramatic thing happened
Mm.
to me and my family, and I decided that I was going to be a very good girl from then on.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I had the life that looked really great
Mm.
on paper but just felt terrible in reality. And my husband at the time and I just, it was coming to the end, but it was like, sort of a very slow walk over there. And he finally did something, and he like screamed at me in a certain way, and I saw that it was all bullshit, and I walked out the next day and I was like, I'm done. I'm never going to do
Wow.
this anymore. And within 3
Yeah.
months I sold we got a divorce. I sold my house, ended up living like I went in a completely different direction.
Mm. Wow. How long ago was that? Like, your divorce, how long ago?
10 years ago or so.
Yeah.
I want to say
Yeah.
like 10 years ago.
Okay. So did this start a process of a deeper recovery, more authentic self? Did this start exploring yourself in a different way?
Well, so I had already been exploring,
Yeah.
after something that had like that the really dramatic thing that happened. I'd already started a much larger self recovery thing.
Mhm.
But this particular one with my ex husband was more about my ex husband. Was not just about my ex husband. It was about um, no longer being inauthentic on any
Mhm.
level anywhere.
Mhm. Yeah.
figuring out who the hell I really was and living from that space,
Mhm.
um, uh, no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. No, that's huge. And and your ex-husband was part of the peer community, was part of community with you, and there was still a lot of struggle,
Oh,
like,
yeah,
he was part of it
yeah,
too, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my god, you're
Yeah.
bringing back so many memories. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, I remember, and I'll edit this out if you want me to, but I
Yeah.
remember you and I were at an event, and we were hanging out, and he left with somebody else, and just wasn't a lot of communication about where he was going, what's gonna happen, and then, like, you started emotionally regressing a little bit and getting young, and I remember him coming back, and you said, "Hey, like, you left me alone for a long time," and he said, "But I'm back now," and you went, "Okay."
If that ain't, just a
Yeah.
small microcosm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just like the microcosm of what you went through, and
Oh,
it
yeah.
yeah, and here's a bigger struggle. The group we were in was about being authentic and called into essence and called
Yeah,
into acceptance, and so to be in that group and still be demonstrating some narcissistic traits or things, like, it actually makes it more confusing.
absolutely. And also people are not fully black and fully white, right? They're
Mhm.
not like all bad and all
It's a good
good.
point, good point.
There's like people who and also there are some people who are not necessarily bad people, but they're bad for you.
Yeah,
Um,
that's good, that's good.
just like there's
Yeah.
food, some people
Yeah.
can eat nuts and some people will kill them. You know what I mean? It's like
Mhm.
it's the same thing with like certain
Yeah,
people. Like
right.
it's funny. I went to a hardware store the other day to get some stuff because I've got some creative projects that I'm doing here in my house, and not in my house, but like art stuff that I'm doing.
Mm,
And my husband now he came over to me and I was like, "Are you upset with me?" And he was like, "Not at all." And
mm.
I realized I had this very subtle thread underneath that was like, I'm gonna get into trouble.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it like the whole thing sort of like popped forward, and I was in the car
Mhm.
crying because I had such a big insight
Mm.
around it, and I was like, "Oh my god, I now understand why I was with my ex-husband."
Yeah, yeah.
I was always in trouble. Like, he was always angry with me, and I was always in
Yeah.
trouble.
Oh, sure. Was part of the trigger in that moment, though, the sense of you did something for you? You went and did something that was about you, and then to come back into the
Yeah.
house,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
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 yeah, yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
I say a lot, and I know, some people in the recovery can get this very easily, but, it's easy to say what our certain threats and triggers are, right? We can identify it. It's a loud noise. It's not being able to someone
Yeah.
come up behind me. But here's the real threat for us. The real threat is being connected to myself. The real threat is doing something about my own need. The idea of doing something for me and about me can bring up so much because I
Yeah.
was taught that that was shameful and wrong.
Even I'll even cut for me a little bit deeper
Mhm.
inside of what you just said. It's that, having brings up not having, and what I mean by that is if I have to do something for me, or when faced with the prospect of doing something for myself, what it will bring up to have that will bring up every single time I never had that. And
Mm.
so if I grew
Mm.
up in a family that no one ever taught me, and not only did they teach me that like my needs didn't matter, they taught me that my needs were a burden and that I would get beaten for it.
Yes.
So
Yes.
if someone tries to do something nice, if I try to do something
Mhm.
nice, if I try to actually give myself proper attention, proper love, proper care,
Yeah.
proper like anything, it
Mhm.
will drive up the
Mhm.
the the beasts of all of that.
Yes. Yes, so well
And if I
said.
don't have enough attention,
Mhm.
if I have not cultivated enough awareness, enough attention, enough self to be
Mm.
able to witness that, I'll
Mhm.
just sink and die inside of all
Mhm.
of
Sure, absolutely, and, keyword witness, right?
yeah,
There's so much about being in the right community, having people witness what you've been through, but then also learn for us to witness where we are in our trauma response. Are we in connection to self? Like, all of those things and the practice that that takes. And, it I know you've been doing this for a long time. I know that some people, just chew on what you're giving them, and I have a slightly moderate experience, but the thing is, it doesn't mean I don't struggle.
Oh my God. No, I don't struggle as much. There's so many things,
Right.
but I wanna go back a couple of steps
Mm,
before talking about this, because what you're talking about involves some meta skills. And
mhm,
sometimes, I don't know what your audience like, what listening or what
mm,
self-awareness, I don't know where they are in their own emotional and psychological map. But
mm,
if you go, well, okay, you have to listen to yourself. But some people are walking certainly this was true for me when I was much younger.
mhm.
Some people, some of us, me when I was younger, I didn't have much of a self
Yeah,
to be able to actually be self-aware.
right, right.
So it's like if you're asking, not you, but like the collective,
Mhm,
you ask someone to be more self-aware, it's a little bit like asking a fish to climb a tree, do you know?
mhm.
But
Yeah.
if you have some self-awareness, then the building of that self-awareness is the game of life.
Mm,
There's
mm,
no place to get to. There's just an
mhm.
ongoing,
Yeah,
curious
yeah,
inquiry
yeah.
and sort of love affair with
Mhm.
getting to know yourself.
Mhm. Yeah, such a compassionate inquiry, and I love what you said about the self-awareness is no self. I tell people all the time, like, in all my years of alcoholism, it was not self-destruction, because if there was self, there'd be no destruction,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
And so, if there my self-awareness is limited to how much understanding of self I have.
Correct.
And even if I have self-awareness, it doesn't mean I have external self-awareness, right? We all have different things we have to work on of like how something lands, how somebody's measuring something. And other people need to stop thinking about external awareness, just focus on their own internal map, how things are
Yeah.
landing for them, right? Like it really, we have to have enough self-awareness to realize a little bit about our map, what camp we're in, and then to get back into to use that for the game of life.
Yeah. And also that there's even like a snippet inside of that, which is, gosh, there's lots of parts of us that
Yeah. Yeah.
play out
Yeah.
inside of that whole thing we just talked
Mhm.
about. So if I have a if I have some self-awareness and I watch myself do something, go into a pattern,
Mhm.
I don't care what it is. If I let's say it's I
Yeah.
shop too much, or if I eat too much, or if I didn't speak up for myself, or if I didn't
Yeah.
whatever,
Yes.
all the
Keep
things that
going,
are
keep
like,
going, keep
yeah,
going.
like I drank too much.
Mm,
I watched TV when I really wanted to read a book. I was on social media too. Like all the things that we
yes,
do.
yes. Mm,
Some of us, it's a little bit more, right? It's like we take whatever,
mhm,
you know? Um, what we do then is when we watch ourselves, we beat ourselves up.
mhm.
And then we're like, I'm beating myself up, and then we're aware that we're beating ourselves up, and then we beat ourselves up for beating ourselves up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
We have all of these different parts
yeah.
that are like have lots of things to say about who we
Mhm,
are and what we're doing.
mhm,
And what I always want to encourage people or try to
mhm,
put a seed in there about is, um, wherever you are on your map, wherever you are on your journey,
mhm,
wherever you are on your self awareness,
mhm,
path that you're on, is to bring as much kindness and compassion to your
mhm.
process as possible,
Yeah.
and to try to interrupt the domino of
Mm,
self flagellation.
that's good. Keep going,
Like,
that's good.
so if you're like, God, I'm such a jerk because I was gonna do blah, 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 all that stuff. Instead of being like, shut up, stop doing that. You're a jerk for telling me I'm a jerk.
Yeah, yeah.
like, like again, we're gonna come back to witness.
Mm,
Witness. Ask yourself questions.
mhm.
Always ask. The brain is a meaning making machine. The
Yeah.
brain is a problem solving mechanism. And so if
Mm,
you give it a problem like God, I'm such an idiot. The brain will go, "Oh, that's the problem I need to solve. Yeah, here, let me show you all the ways that you're an idiot."
hmm.
But if you go
Yeah, that's
you
good,
go
that's good.
if you give it better problems and questions to ask, it will come up.
Mhm.
It's just gonna tell you, it's just gonna give you the thing you give it.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
so you go, "What's a better way I can be compassionate here?
yeah.
What's a way that I could be kind here? What's a
Mm,
way for me to bring
mm,
some understanding? How can I
mhm.
speak kinder to myself? Is there maybe a reason why I don't know how to talk to myself? Like, I didn't ever learn that, but I'm
Yeah.
learning every single day.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. If those of you don't know anything about peer, which is a modality of therapy that's really not as well known as I wish it was, and you can go back and listen to my podcast with John Lee. He's one of the co-founders of it.
Man,
Yeah, yeah. It's probably one of my favorite podcasts I did. It was just so good to see him and hear from him again, but to know you and I met in that world, but I'm curious what modalities or what things have really helped you understand your internal template, like whether it's polyvagal theory or internal family systems or something in particular, because you're incredibly enlightened. And you're intelligent, but there's more than that. There's an enlightenment.
yeah, I've had a lot of, time on the mat, so to speak, in, like,
Yeah.
grappling with the
Oh
things.
yeah.
Like,
Oh
I
yeah.
spent a
Yeah.
lot of time on the mat in
Mm.
training, with myself. So
Hmm.
um the things that have helped. Okay, before I go into the modalities,
Hmm.
I wanna say the actual thing that people don't realize is very important,
Mm.
which is I hate to say this because it sounds sort of like, I don't know, not great, but a certain degree of desperation helped me.
Yes. Hitting
A
bottom in a sense.
certain
Yes.
bottom.
Hmm.
I will tell you a brief story. I was in New York City, and this was well before my marriage, and, this was after, like, a really large event that had happened, and I didn't quite know I didn't quite know how to live. I had been on Broadway, I was touring the country, I was doing all these great things, and something happened.
Mm.
I was suddenly, like, all my defenses, everything was stripped, and I couldn't barely function. I could barely even leave the house. And so I had spent some time trying to motivate myself to get up and out and not sort of like leave the planet, do you know?
Mm.
And then there was
Hmm.
one day where I thought, I'm tired and I don't want to keep motivated. I can't do it anymore. I don't have the energy.
Right.
So I give you, me, meaning me,
Hmm.
to myself, I give it over to you. You can do
Yeah.
whatever it is that you want today. If you want to end it all today, I
Mm,
back you.
mhm. Yeah.
Um, and so I walked around not knowing what the hell I was gonna do, and then I ended up, um, organically buying it was Christmas time, I'm gonna cry, um,
Mm.
buying a small Christmas tree and then going to the store and getting lights and getting ornaments, and I
Phew.
lit them, and I sat there by myself with this little sort of like almost sort of sad, Charlie Brown Christmas tree,
Yeah, yeah.
and I said, "Alright, I guess I don't wanna die, we're gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do," and then the
Mm.
next day I was like, "I don't know how."
Yeah,
But I'm gonna figure out how to make
yeah.
all the parts of me come home and get whole. I
Mm.
don't know how I'm
Phew.
gonna do it. Because
Yeah.
at the time, I'm older, I'm 55 going on 56, and I didn't have there was not really a lot of internet, there wasn't any of the trauma-informed
Mm.
stuff
Mhm.
then as there is now. And
Mm.
so before any of the stuff that I'm gonna talk
Mhm.
about modalities, there is a
Mm.
certain degree of,
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
deciding.
Yeah, thank you for that, and I love this, like, there's a tree of life. Like, you had
Yeah,
this little Charlie
yeah.
Brown
Yeah,
tree
and
here.
it was the first time I was kind to myself, believe it or not.
Ooh.
It was
Whew.
the first time
Whew.
in that particular period of my life,
Yeah.
after sort of like the darkest, night for me, it was like,
Mm.
that I was kind, like, genuinely was like, "Okay, I'm listening to you. What do you wanna
Yeah.
do?"
So good. So good.
So that is key, you know?
Mm.
So then the next thing after that, the things that for me personally really made the most, uh, like, impact and how I related to myself was certainly the group that you're talking about, peer. It's like,
Mhm.
how do you meet each part of yourself? And along the same lines, Gestalt therapy was really
Mhm.
helpful to sort of
Mhm.
somatically do that.
Yeah.
Also, internal family systems,
Yeah.
IFS, really,
Mhm.
really helpful. I did a whole bunch of um, body work, which was like sort of like touching the very thing, like
Mm.
your solar
Mhm.
plexus. Usually, that's a
Yeah. Oh,
spot.
yeah.
I mean,
Mm.
it would be almost like people were standing, like literally standing inside of it to be able to like
Yeah.
bring it.
Yeah.
If there was something that was out of the box, I tried it. I
Yeah.
literally tried
Sure.
everything. But the thing that I kept going back to was Gestalt,
Mhm.
IFS,
Mhm.
and I'm now doing something called Mind Light, which I'm training in something called Mind Light,
Hmm.
uh, which takes all of those modalities plus a couple of more, and
Yeah.
it's a really beautiful hybrid of it. It's great. But anything
Yeah.
that gets you present to
Yeah.
you and
Mhm.
your emotions that we are taught to suppress, anything that gets you
Mhm.
present to that in a way that's loving, kind, compassionate, and
Mhm.
meets it with no judgment, helps you become a friendly home to yourself.
I love your vocabulary. I love the friendly home. I love the integration
Yeah,
that you're talking about, and
yeah.
I hear such a gentleness, and I just believe when we've been raised so harshly,
Oh my
when
god.
there's such uh, a resistance against emotional needs and vulnerability feels like
Yes.
it'll be death, and it is death. It's death to what doesn't work, but the idea like, if I'd felt my feelings as a little girl, I wouldn't still be here.
Yes.
Right? Like, there's
Yes.
just so much, and there's gentleness now about that, that it's really
Yeah.
okay that feelings are not what come first for me, and there's compassion of why.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wanna say you were talking about that it feels like death. I don't
Mhm.
wanna I don't wanna sugarcoat things. Building neuronal like, for those of us who have been raised in homes where we didn't get some sort of basic not
Mhm.
just, whole object relation and object constancy, right? Those things
Yeah.
that get developed, right?
Yeah.
And, which are key and important things, but that are in a deep survive like, you have to fracture yourself
Yes.
to survive, and so your
Yeah.
attention is always out there to make sure
Mm.
that you're
Mm.
safe.
Mm.
For those of us who were raised that way,
Mhm.
to create new neuronal pathways
Yeah.
feels a little bit I there are ways to do it better now, right? There's a whole bunch of
Mhm.
ways with plant medicines and different modalities that are out there
Mhm.
that are like cutting edge. And there's always a certain degree of like ego death because that's what was there to have you survive.
Right.
And the ego, when it's dying, does feel like it's dying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but on the other end of that is like you. And I
Yeah.
will say this, that's why I'm like, I don't usually talk about this because I don't want to scare people, but I also want to give people sort of like a
Mhm.
sanity check. If your growth sometimes feels like super confronting or like you're sort of going to die a little bit or like
Mhm.
that's actually a sign that you're moving in the direction
Yeah.
of like yourself being born
Mhm. That's right.
and your ego having to sort of let go and die there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, you do get good enough at it where I can go through something like that nowadays, but I have so much self that's been built up that when that happens,
Mhm.
it's not
Yeah.
I don't really have a big but for a lot of years, it was super intense.
Mm, absolutely. Yeah, and the level of support needed
Yes.
in finding your right cadence, and
Yes.
it's really important. Will you talk a little bit more about the new modality that's the hybrid a little bit? I know my audience, they're gonna be like, "What the hell did she say? Say that again." Because the audience here is very neuroscience related, very
Oh, good.
curious about
Good,
very
good,
curious about
good.
modalities. Yeah.
So what I love about this, modality, again, it's called Mind Light.
Mind light.
Um and they use IFS, emotional freedom technique, which is tapping.
Mhm.
They
Mhm.
use sort of like these visual journey things that like hack your mind a little bit.
Yeah.
But the premise of all of those things that they use, and there's a couple of other modalities, like the premise of and the foundation underneath
Mm.
all of that is a fundamental like coming to self that every single part of you is good, to be
Yes.
trusted,
Yes.
whole, right, and that you can actually like go where it leads you and that you are
Yeah.
like it's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
But done in a
Absolutely.
way that's like super gentle so that you can meet
Mhm.
parts of yourself and
Mhm.
have like saviors and the things that are inside of
Mhm.
you come with you. Like there's a way
Mhm.
to meet all the parts of you much
Mhm.
faster, much more gently. Um,
Mhm.
uh, um, I don't feel like I'm saying this in a way that's eloquent, but um, I love the mind uh, and the brain and
Mhm.
emotional hackery that it does
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
best of these modalities.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you have so much you put out there of helping people understand, like, if you are in a fight response, again, we have to also kinda understand what that feels like in our body. How do you know you've gone into sympathetic, right? Like, whether it's chest pain, whatever, that
Yeah,
here's something to do to return to self. It's always about returning to self. And for a
yeah.
lot of people, I get it, like, the start of is even believing or being willing to believe the possibility that there is a self that is full of love.
Oh my god. It's
Mm.
funny, I was just talking to someone the other day, and they said something similar to what you just said a little while ago, which was, "Your level of kindness towards yourself is really
Mm.
marked."
Yeah.
And I got very moved in that moment, and I thought, "If
Mhm.
you only understood where I started from,
Yes.
you would understand how miraculous it is that I'm here."
Yeah, it is.
And it's worth it.
Yeah,
Everybody, I'm sure, in your audience
yeah,
knows and
sure.
understands that it's how
Mhm.
deeply worth it is.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
but I don't wanna leave this planet. This is my
Mm.
own commitment. I don't wanna
Mhm.
leave this planet without having, um, discovered how far I can go with
Yeah.
my kindness and love for myself.
With my kindness and my love for myself.
Yeah,
Let me tell you part of why this is so important for this audience listening is that so many of us are under this codependent umbrella, this fawning, and this
yeah,
idea that most of what we do is to avoid self, is to avoid connection,
yes,
and that the overcommitment to someone else's needs is we know it's a way to control, manipulate, but it's because we don't have permission to actually let it be about our own needs.
yeah,
The idea of people hearing this of it's about kindness to self, and from there, it will naturally spill out to others, right? But can you talk a little bit about how do you suggest or tell a bit more about your story of how does it become okay that it's about self and not about, "No, you're supposed to just take care of everybody else."
yeah. At first, I just wanna even the part that's like, I need to give to others first, I need to give to others first. I just
Mhm,
wanna, like, love the part of
mhm.
those that have it that are listening. I just wanna love on it and say, "It makes sense that why you're here. I understand. My god, you had to survive a lot. You're doing such a
Mm,
good job.
mm,
Thank
yeah,
you." So I genuinely, with tears in my eyes, I wanna say that first. Um, there's no Have you ever tried to shove if you're in a pool and you're sitting on a air ball
mhm,
and try sitting on it and the ball is constantly trying to
yeah,
sneak out from under
yeah,
and go up on the surface and stuff. That's a little bit like trying to stop ourselves from being who we are. Like, we can't it'll come out sideways and we can't really shove down our pain,
mhm,
it just
mhm,
comes out weird. And so the way to do it, I was just talking about this with a client today, that, for me, I always had just recently, and I've been doing this for 38 years.
yeah,
Just recently, I so for a lot of those years, I didn't even know that there was sort of for New Yorkers, there's a third rail in the subway line that you can't touch it because if you touch it, you'll electrocute. So it's covered,
mm,
right? It's a thing that
mhm,
powers the subway line. Um, but there, I didn't even know for a lot of years that there was a third rail element
mm,
inside of me that if I dared even come,
mm,
it would electrocute me and I would die.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then when I discovered that there was, I wanted everybody else to do something about that third rail in me. I
yeah,
was not going to get close to that third rail. Somebody else save me from it. It's too much. I will die if I get close to it. If it starts to rear its head, I feel like I'm drowning and I die. All the stuff will come up, right?
yeah,
And I'll act like a weird person and then I'll blow up my life and all kinds of
mm,
things. And so I've spent decades and decades and decades moving closer and closer, sort of like being able to handle my own third rail.
Mm,
And just recently, my I've gotten enough of my own self-love and kindness
mm.
to sit with my third rail. My third rail has shrunk down so much
Yeah, that's good. That's
that
really good.
now when I touch it, it's a little bit like, when you touch a battery to your tongue. Zzz,
Mhm.
do you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
It's that as opposed to the large, like, it
Mhm.
threw me across, 100
Mhm.
feet against the wall and hurt me.
Mhm.
Um, how to do that?
Mhm.
The problem with it is that the instinct, our default in that whole entire dynamic is to fix, solve, disappear it, shove it down, pretend it's not there, have someone else, take care of it, pay someone, do another class,
Mm,
do another therapy. We
mm,
wanted to just get the fuck away from us because it's
mhm.
the reason why we're unlovable and we're fucked up.
Right, that's right. That's right.
So the thing I'm going to say is what everybody knows. It's like, how do you lose weight? Well, you eat less and work, move your body more, do you
Yeah.
know? Um, but it's a little bit like how do you do it? You spend time as much as possible every day with the thing you hate most about yourself. And
Mm,
figure out how to love it, be
yeah,
kind,
yeah,
patience.
yeah.
You That's really what reparenting oneself is,
Right.
the part that is trying desperately to survive. Like,
Mm,
why did you do that? You're an idiot. So and so, blah blah. Oh, I didn't do enough for other people. That's why, like terrified
mm,
that they're going to leave you and stuff like that. That part,
mm.
we that it needs our own differentiation from it because it doesn't
Yeah,
want to be running the show.
yeah,
It
yeah.
doesn't wanna be living, it
Mm,
doesn't wanna be the boss, it doesn't wanna be the
mhm,
adult. It was shoved into
mhm,
the adult position from
mhm.
so young an age.
Yeah.
But there's no adult online who's
Mhm.
able to say, "Don't worry about it, my love, I'm gonna take care of things."
Yeah.
And so first it needs differentiation from it,
Right, that's good. That's good.
and then it needs to kindly, patiently, lovingly going, "I'm here.
Yeah,
No, I understand. You're like, no,
yeah.
I can't. I
Mm,
understand."
yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good.
I said it
You
a
know
lot, but there was something in there, do you know?
yeah, there was so much beauty in there, and I just wanna see if this kind of lands in the same part of this map that you just, put out there so well. Of a lot of people say to me when they're having the courage to do what you're talking about and get deeper and whatever it is that's keeping them in their pattern, right? We know vulnerability helps us step out of the pattern, but how do we allow ourselves to feel safe being vulnerable? But the people say, I want someone else to notice. I want someone
Yes.
else to do it. I'm like, well, there was a time that was supposed to happen for you. That's what your parents are supposed to do. And I'm so sorry they didn't. And the surrendering of it, that it didn't happen. So now it's on me to say, as you said, like, I understand my love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that 100%.
Mm.
I would even add a little bit of, like, yes, I
Yeah.
wanted that too.
Yeah.
I want that too. I It
Yeah.
makes sense that you would
It
want that.
makes sense. Yeah.
Of course you want that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
In
Yeah.
the meantime, while we're working towards you having that,
Mhm.
how can you give yourself the kind of
Yeah.
attention that you
Yeah.
crave?
Yeah. And just to add even to what you added, when we start doing it for ourselves, even if it's just titration, it's just little
Yes,
drops here and there. When we start doing it, it's interesting. Other people will then show up and do it.
yes,
If they do it before that, it does create dependence.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Oh, oh my gosh. Like there's a part there's so much I wanna say here in the sense
Say
that
it.
none of us knows what the fuck we're doing.
Amen.
And so many of us, no, all of us have a unique path to finding, like, when you're learning how to ride a bike, you don't know what you're like skinning your knees, you're falling off the bike, your body doesn't know what the hell balance is, you run into a bush, you like bust your teeth, but at some point your body goes, "Oh," and it like
Mm,
and then you're
mm.
wobbly for a little while, but then all of a sudden
Yeah,
you're off to the races. So that's a lot about how our lives are. And so yeah, if they
yeah,
do it too soon, we get needy and codependent
yeah.
on them, and
Mhm,
that's part of the wobble. That's part of the
mhm,
skinning your knees. The
mhm,
only thing is that you don't wanna get stuck in the skinning your knees portion and, like, get upset with, why. Like, there's you wanna be able to mess it like, fail forward.
mhm, mhm,
Right? Like, yeah,
mhm.
you'll be in a like, I have people who I work with, one person who had a terrible marriage, and this person is now in a relationship where it's better than the marriage was for sure. Is there
Yeah.
some other issues that are
Mm,
showing up?
mm.
100%, but it's
Yeah.
like she's upgraded her issues.
Yeah,
She's like
right. That's
now in the
right.
gym, like working on the 20-pound weight rather than where she
Right.
was at the 2-pound weight. So you
Mhm,
don't want to stay stuck there. And if you do,
mhm.
okay, well, what are you going to do? But
Right.
like we're all failing forward,
Yeah,
So
yeah,
um, that's why I'm like, yes, what you're saying is
yeah,
100%. And I also even want to give it space for like, yay, you're doing so
yeah.
great. Keep going,
Yeah,
fail
yeah,
forward,
yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's so good. Let me stay with the bike analogy for a second, because if you think
Yeah,
about it, a lot of us learn to ride a bike young age, don't really remember the process. Some of us
yeah.
have trauma, and that's why we can't remember learning to ride a bike, right?
Or learning how to swim. I was one of those that's like, oh
Right.
God,
You
I
just
don't
like,
know
"Oh,
how.
I can swim. Who taught me that?" So,
Right.
but just the idea of riding a bike, and it's very natural, and you don't realize there's like 38 different mechanisms happening for you to actually ride the bike. So, I do not remember the man's name right now, but I've used this video a couple of times when I preach. But he's a welder and an engineer, so he works with this team of engineer and welders, and they took the bike and they just took the handlebars and they flipped it. And so it took him 8 months to learn how to ride it. So he's frustrated because he's highly intelligent and thinks he can figure out very quickly, but his mind knew how to ride a bike the way it was ingrained, what he learned first. And so now the handlebars were flipped, and so it took him 8 months where he could steadily ride the
Yeah,
bike.
yeah, yeah,
His
yeah.
son, who is 6, who had only been riding a bike for like 3 months, learned it in a week, or maybe it was
Yeah,
2 weeks, right? Because
yeah,
it's what you've done for so long, and that's why we
yes,
have to have self-compassion, we have to have some understanding
yes.
that, like, you're flipping the handlebars on a bike, and you're not gonna know what to do.
No, and the more automated you are, the more well
Mhm.
grooved those neuronal pathways
That's
are,
right.
and the harder it is to create
Yep.
new ones.
That's right.
But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That has been true in my life. I've been
Yeah.
incredibly stubborn. I'm one of those people that like refuses to give up the fight unless
Mm.
I'm 100% certain I either have to or die, or I could see that there's clearly a better way. And so I have
Mm.
stubbornly suffered
Mm.
for way too long
Mm.
because
Yeah.
of that. But once I've learned, I'm like, "Oh, I'm solid here." You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Well, and everyone to remember, like, that it's automatic because it's part of your autonomic nervous system, and autonomic just means automatic. Like, it's what got ingrained in you to do, and so if you were taught initially a way that helped you survive your childhood, but
Yeah.
now it means you're stuck in childlike philosophies, thoughts, and beliefs, and you're
Yeah.
taking that and putting it into adult relationship,
Yeah.
you're automatically doing what a child learned to do.
100%.
And
100%.
And if you look at it really as a child, you will give that child compassion. If you look at it as who you are today, and then you're mad at yourself, you don't you just get to stay where you are.
Yeah. If I wanna reiterate what you just said. If there's
Mhm,
anything in this whole conversation that I hope that you come away with,
mhm,
it's that you interrupt the self-cruelty
mm,
pattern a little quicker.
yeah, a little quicker. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Not that it goes away
Right.
100%. Listen, if
Sure.
that in this conversation, if that's what you take away and you're able to do that, oh my god,
Mhm. Yeah,
that's wonderful. But if
yeah.
you just interrupt that and stop it and
Mhm,
and and teach it a new like, stop the
mhm,
domino a little quicker and then
mhm.
and give it like, teach it a new pattern,
Yeah.
then that is golden.
Yeah, there's something about that, the domino effect of really thinking about, like, I would normally spend 3 days now unable to get out of bed, and this
Yeah.
time it was 2.5 days. Like,
Yeah.
please celebrate that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, our autonomic nervous system is up and away. It's never wrong. It
Yeah.
only does what it knows to do. It can now have a reaction in the wrong situation. Right, it cannot be the right thing in the moment for you, but it's only doing what it knows to
Yeah.
do. That's the retraining. That's the neuroplasticity and the
I al
rewiring.
I also wanna give people a different, like, a different way to think about things.
Please.
When we're always the reason why we're so hard on ourselves typically is
Mm,
because we are always comparing ourselves to an ideal version of how we should be, how we're
mm,
supposed to be,
mm.
some idea of perfection, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not the whole reason why, but it's one of the reasons why. We have some ideal of perfection and
Mhm,
some idea of ourselves that we're supposed to be, and we fall
mhm.
short of that all the time.
Yeah.
And so if we compare ourselves to that, we're always failing. But especially if you're on a healing journey,
Right,
you are far better than where you were when you started. And
right.
so if you compare yourself from where you started, you're always in the game, you're always winning.
Mhm.
Like, "Oh," like what you
True.
just said, "I
Mhm,
used to be, flat on my back, and I would just be, like,
mhm.
collapsed for 3 days, but heck, I did it now for 2.5 days,
Yeah,
and I wasn't as hard on
yeah.
myself." That means you're always in a win. I if you can always compare yourself backwards and not forward, like,
Yeah,
compare
that's good.
to how you used to be.
Mhm.
The ideal is like it's like what they I forget the writer, but he talks about how the ideal is like the horizon, it's always out of reach,
Oh, that's
you
good.
can't
That's
ever get
good.
to it. And
Yeah.
so, it's a something to keep you going, but it's not the
Mhm.
thing to like, "Oh, I didn't make it, so now I gotta go, kill myself." No,
Mhm.
that's not how
Mhm.
it is, you know?
Yeah, I love that, and for people to if they could replace, because first of all, you're so right, we're gonna compare ourselves. Can we do it in a way that's beneficial? Right?
Yeah,
Because it's
and
gonna
that's
happen,
real, and
and
that's
that's real.
genuine. Yeah,
Yeah, and if we're wonder how easy or just allowing ourselves instead of an ideal self, that we bring in the ideal parent,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like, you bring in the ideal caretaker for
yeah.
that part of you versus that we're trying to get to an ideal self.
Yeah. If
Yeah.
you've made it so far, I don't know if you've had any kind of I get teary-eyed when I say things like this
Mm,
because I very close to the part of me that, like, made it, and
yeah,
could by tomorrow, if something happened, like, I'd have to start over again, but, like,
yeah.
I'm very like, if you're alive, if
Mhm,
you are listening to this, it
mhm,
means that you are doing far better than
mhm.
you think you are, and that should be rewarded,
Yeah.
celebrated, it should be acknowledged. It should be like, "Look at how far you've
Mm.
come.
Yeah,
Look at you."
yeah, yeah.
So I I will say that to you if you're listening to this. Thank you for being
Mm,
here. It's amazing.
mm,
If you're
mm.
anything like me, there were a couple of times maybe that you just didn't wanna be here anymore, but yet you're still here. Look at
Yeah,
how far you've come. Good for you.
yeah, so good. I'm just gonna let anybody sit in that for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all just take that in, and if there's a resistance, just pay attention. Of course, there's the resistance. Pay attention to the parts that come in who don't know it's okay to be attuned to yourself and to take
And
risks.
And they get to be here too. I
Yeah,
understand
yeah, yeah.
why it might be, scary to take something like that in. It
Mhm,
makes sense. You had
mm,
to survive a lot. You're doing really
yeah.
well. Thank you for helping me survive. You
Mhm,
get to be here too.
mhm. Yeah, and one thing I've done with parts like this is ask them, like, "Are you tired?" And they're always like, "Yes, I'm tired." I'm like, "Well, can you let me drive the bus?"
Yeah,
Like, sometimes I may need that part.
yeah,
If it blends with me really fast, I don't get choice in it, and choice is how we know we're back connected to self and
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
And so I
yeah,
joke with people, particularly, like, with, I'm waiting on my patients, I'm running late, and they'll text me, say, "I'm almost there." I'm like, "Could you hurry?" Like, I've got 20 voices in my head yelling at me. Like, "Could you please get here?" Because I'm so aware of all the different parts.
yeah,
They
yeah,
don't blend with me as much, they don't take over as much, but they're still there because I need them
yeah,
in certain situations. I don't need them in all situations.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, whatever we need to use to get there. I heard Dr. Ramani, who I just have
Oh,
such
I love
respect for, yeah,
yeah,
say this today, and I'm gonna make a reel of this later, but we were talking about perfection she was talking about perfectionism and productivity, and codependency. I think those are the 3 top trauma responses that get rewarded and get encouraged.
Yeah.
And she's talking about that and saying that what that does when you're trying to be perfect is that you're putting on perfume and you actually need a shower. So I'm stealing that from her to make it real, because it just something shifted when I heard that, and it's okay. It's okay if I'm just doing perfume, right?
Hells
But
yes.
but I
Holy shit.
right? Yeah,
Yes.
that's still something. But to step out of perfectionism, to get into the shower, even if I just start washing my hand, like doing
Yeah.
something to say that I'm gonna trust that there is a true self that could actually handle whatever happens next.
And there's also a spot on the map that is conscious unconsciousness, which is a very frustrating spot on the map. And what I mean by
Mm,
that is you are conscious that you are
mhm.
unconscious, but you can't do a
Yes.
single thing about it. You
Yeah.
are watching yourself do your freaking patterns.
Yeah.
You are watching yourself, oh my God, look, watch at me, not
Yeah.
speaking up for myself, oh my
Right.
God, or
Yes.
watch me do this. Like you
Yeah.
are watching yourself. That is
Yes.
an actual
Mhm.
spot on the developmental map outside,
Mm.
like, as you're working through your pattern breaking.
Yeah, that's
So,
good.
there's nothing wrong with you. It is
Uh-huh.
one of those geographical locations you have to pass through
That's so good.
while you're
So good.
learning how to
Yeah.
actually do the thing, like speak
Uh-huh.
up, put
Yeah.
yourself first,
Mhm.
say no as a complete set, like
Mhm.
whatever it is. So,
Mhm.
don't beat yourself up for your developmental process.
Yeah, that's so
Nobody is perfect. The people
mm.
who look like they're doing it perfectly were not even perfect until they
Right.
got to whatever it looked like that's now perfect.
Right. Sure. Sure. And I think that brings up a good point too, is you can watch somebody handle something, and it could just be that that's never been an issue for them. Al Right. It also could be that they've had to fight really hard to get there. We don't know, and that goes back to the comparison. You will compare, but can it be like, if I'm gonna compare myself to you and say, "I wanna be where you are," instead of living in that silently, I can ask you, "How did you get there?"
Yeah,
But
how
we
I
don't do
got
that. Yeah.
no, how I got here is how is everybody's getting here is I fucked up
Mm.
a lot.
Yeah.
I especially me, I learned the hard way.
Yeah.
I went from the mute,
Mm.
like everything was happening to I had to, mute to especially when I got to a certain age, puberty and
Mhm.
stuff like that, I finally realized that I had a weapon against men
Mm.
especially. And
Mhm.
so then I became just a man eater and someone who blew up and just, like malignant
Mhm.
narcissistic tendencies and,
Hmm.
dog dog and cruel. I'm telling you that if there's a way to fuck it up, I have been there, done that, and bought and sold T-shirts for it too,
Yeah.
you know?
Right?
So,
Yeah.
the way to do it is just to do it badly
Yeah.
until you
Yeah.
learn how to do it better.
Can you talk a little bit about the getting re-engaged with acting and singing, and I would love to hear a little bit about the psychology about that, how you encouraged yourself to step back into that world.
I'm still encouraging myself to step back
Yeah,
into that world.
yeah,
I was, on the road with a show that I'd been on Broadway and was on the road with a show that I always wanted to do. It was Les Mis. I don't wanna leave people in mystery.
yeah.
That's how old
Yeah,
it
don't
is, like,
yeah, don't give me the mystery, I wanna know, thank you.
um, um, and then, my whole world blew apart
Mm,
and could barely leave the house and all that stuff, and so I am just, I wanna say recently, because 'cause I've still been singing here and there, and I write and I do, performances, and I've been on The Moth, and I've done stuff.
hmm,
Um, how did I do that?
mm,
Um, it's funny, this one is the tender stuff is always, for me, more, I wouldn't say challenging to map, but I will say that it takes exquisite for me.
hmm,
This part of me lives and breathes inside the most vulnerable,
mm,
tender,
mm,
authentic place
yeah,
that could exist.
mm,
When I was a kid, I didn't know how to pray, but I knew how to sing, And so my song was prayer.
What's your
And
prayer?
this was before I knew anything. And so when you're talking to me about that, it's like you're asking me about like the very core and essence of who I am. So
Yeah.
tenderly, patiently,
Hmm.
lovingly, and with exquisite attention and resonance.
Yeah. That's so well said.
Yeah.
The vulnerability of putting yourself out there or something that means that much to you, and everyone has whatever that is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but it means that you're able to be vulnerable. Also, there's a protection if something came towards you about it,
Yeah.
that you can decide what touches and what doesn't touch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also having goodness for me, I don't think it's just for me, but I'm really good at handling challenges. I've gotten to the point where I can really surf, and most of us are really good at it, but I'm now
Mm,
really effective at like making it so that it becomes like the problem almost unproblems itself. I can just
mm,
diffuse in a good way,
mhm,
um, and not have a lot of drama in my life or anything like that. But
yeah,
I'm working right now. I'm opening up to being able to hold and have goodness,
mm,
like real, genuine joy, the kind that like reaches in and like bathes you in it.
yeah,
I'm working on able to have that without me, you
mm,
know, collapsing or falling apart. So I'm
mm.
deeply in resonance with the valve of that. And
Y
that's a whole other
yeah,
recovery. It's
yeah,
all
yeah,
recovery.
yeah, I love the way you use residence in that, like, that you're working on living in it and being in the discomfort, being in what it is to see what becomes born, what's next.
Yeah, and also being able to know what it is to have, like
Mm,
to experience the experience of like and like having my whole system have it,
mm,
and then getting to the place resonant enough where I go, "Okay, my system is full. I
yeah,
need to let I
ah,
don't wanna
yeah,
overwhelm or shove things in and then feel and
uh-huh,
then be inside of like, why am I anxious?" No, I'm so slow inside of that
mm,
that I'm like, "I just got full. I'm good. I'm gonna step back a little bit."
yeah,
I don't wanna
yeah,
overwhelm my system. I want me
uh,
to have it all, but in
yeah,
order to have it all, I need to have this little bit, all of
mm,
that, and then this little bit next,
mhm,
all of that. So,
yeah,
I'm working on not overwhelming my system so I can expand my capacity to have.
yeah, I think that's amazing. I'm gonna put that a little bit in silly terms,
Yeah, yeah.
but in the sense of you have a huge following. I think you have, like, 107K followers on Instagram.
I on IG, yeah, and then I have
Yeah,
165 or something like on TikTok, and then I
yeah,
have on the Facebook something like 300 and something.
right. So there's just a sense of, so many people who are just being fed by you.
Yeah.
And part I wanna point this out is that, that's not everybody's calling, what it's next for everybody, but there's the work you've had to do to be on social media,
Yes.
to be that vulnerable,
Yeah,
knowing what comes. I mean, there are people who
yeah,
look to
yeah.
find someone like you and try to devour them when all you're
Yeah,
trying to do is
yeah, yeah,
politely feed others.
yeah.
And so I
Or
just wanna
attack or do all that stuff, yeah.
oh, absolutely. I just wanna acknowledge the lived experience and you sharing your experience with people, and that I think it's part of what you're saying, the joy comes in that many people are coming towards you, but I know you. It's not the number.
No, not even a little bit. I don't even
Yeah.
it's not that I don't care about it, I don't really
Yeah.
care about it. It's not the
Mhm.
thing that, like,
Mm.
I'm talking about my everyday lived experience, like,
Yeah.
I have a birthday coming up, and
Mm.
I finally have, like, enough she feels good enough inside of
Mm.
me where
Mm.
she's like, "I wanna go to Disneyland this birthday with
Oh, I
my
love it.
friends, and I wanna
Yeah.
do" like, with a bunch and so I've got friends who are like, "Do you wanna
Mm.
dress up?" Like, they're, like, running with, "Do you wanna dress up in costume? Do you wanna do this? Tell me" they got on a call
Mm.
and they were like, "How do you want the whole entire thing?" Like, that's how that for
Mm.
me and like, I have my husband who is the kind like, when I tell
Yeah.
you that I have a unicorn of a man in
Mm.
my life, he's
Mhm.
like just such goodness and kindness and
Mhm.
loving, like,
Mhm.
strength. And so there's goodness in my life, and so how do I
Mm.
like let love I know when you're talking about social media,
Mhm.
I've got boundaries enough to go,
Yeah,
like, even play around with the things that are I'm not on social media to debate and argue and stuff like
yeah,
that, I'm giving, like, if you wanna
yeah,
do that, go pay
yeah.
me.
Right,
I do
right.
that in a therapeutic sense because 'cause you're
Mhm,
fighting demons, but, yeah, I'm not gonna
mhm,
just fight demons with someone who's like, "I understand that you're doing that, but
mm.
block and delete," you know?
Yeah, right.
But for the people who pull on me, I'm, like, really clear. I'm like, I have a
Mm,
lot of clarity in the larger sense, and it did take me a long
mm,
time to figure out who the fuck I
mm.
am in
Yeah,
that sort of larger thing. It's a mind fuckery
mm,
to figure that out.
hmm,
But I'm talking about, like, my everyday not having a loud head, and I have a quiet head now.
yeah,
I wake
yeah.
up with a quiet head. I live
Phew.
my life in a quiet head. I have a lighter
Mhm,
heart. And so
mhm.
how do I walk around and, like, take open up genuinely to all the goodness that I
Yeah,
have
yeah.
and that wants to be given to me, you know?
Mhm,
So,
mhm. It's
I didn't wanna interrupt too much, but, like, I wanted to, like, have it be a much,
mm,
like, simpler thing. I don't really give a shit about the
mm.
numbers. Like, whoever
Yes,
follows me,
yes,
whoever
yes.
follows me, do you
Right,
know?
right. Yeah, but it's that natural attraction rather for
Yeah.
than
Yeah, yeah,
compared to
yeah.
force, right? And so
Yeah,
it's
I
just
don't mark it.
yeah,
I just do.
yeah, yeah. It's just beautiful, and I was happy to find you on Instagram and TikTok and see you, and I know we've emailed before a little bit, stuff like that, but to see that many people seeing you today, what I saw the first time I met you 15 years ago.
You
Yeah.
don't know this about you probably do because 'cause you've spent some time listening to her and being with her. Kim is one of the she has this incredible I'm gonna talk about you as though you're not even here.
Okay, I'll act
She
like I'm not
has
here.
this incredible this is my memory, and it's still true today.
Mm,
She has this incredible gift
mm,
to, in the middle of the saddest, most sort of, like, deeply profound sorrow,
mm,
have a sense of humor and joy. She always has, like, one hand up pointing to the
mm,
world, like the
mm,
sky and Father, up there,
mm, mhm.
while, like, helping people who are just, like, down, and herself, like, that's always
Mm.
been always, always,
Wow,
always. There is
wow.
always joy
Mm,
among the sobbing,
yeah,
always humor.
yeah.
That's
I
what I remembered about you,
yeah,
always, us laughing and crying,
yeah.
in the corner together about life.
Ah, ah, mm. Thank you. I think that might be the most profound, life-breathing description I've ever heard.
Oh,
And part of why that's so touching is that when I walked into my first peer environment, I walked in with probably 10 years sobriety, but
mm,
I hadn't eaten in probably 30 days.
mm,
And I was still a psychotherapist, a highly sought after psychotherapist. And I had been triggered and I couldn't function anymore. Very similar to your Tree of Life Christmas story.
yeah,
And Connie Burns had all these activities in this group I was in, life giving activities. And Anna, I couldn't do one of them. And I still was absorbing hope. Like I
yes,
couldn't do one of them the exact way she instructed us to do them. And it didn't matter because the compassion and love in that group was
yeah,
there and something started shifting for me.
yes.
And you're such a part of that. So thank you.
Oh, now we'll just both cry together.
Yeah. Well, we might edit this shit. This could ruin my reputation. This is ruining everything.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. It ruined
Yeah.
it all.
Yeah. Ruined it all. Powerful, powerful woman. So thank you. We're gonna put you in the hot seat
Oh,
and
good.
get me out of the sad seat. Put you in the hot seat. But I appreciate you breathing so much beauty into me today. So Uh, okay, so we're just gonna go lighthearted real quick. Anna, tell all of us what is your favorite quote.
To love another person is to see the face of God.
Whew, yeah, yeah, yeah. What surprises people the most about you?
Um, I people think that I'm very serious and angry and, like, very tough,
Hmm,
and I think what surprises people the most is how, uh, like, tender
mhm,
and soft, and
yeah,
I laugh a lot.
yeah, a lot of laughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. What surprises you the most about you?
That, oh, that I for a long time, I didn't think I had the capacity to love because I wasn't
Mm,
made that way. I wasn't made that way, but I was turned into someone who literally just didn't have the capacity to love. So what
yeah,
surprises me the most is my ongoing,
yeah,
like, growing capacity for love.
yeah,
It just was a miracle. I didn't expect it to ever
yeah,
happen.
yeah. What a beautiful miracle. All right, last one. What is your favorite binge-worthy show?
I thought you were gonna say food, and I was
Or
gonna say all
food,
kinds
or
of
food.
food. My favorite binge-worthy show, it's funny, I just rewatched, I don't know if it's my favorite, but I just rewatched Ted Lasso because there's
Oh,
just so much joy and,
I
like,
love. Yeah,
there's something about it that, like, it's speaking to me right now.
yeah,
I just love Ted Lasso, and I did love Mad Men. I watched that one probably over and over and
yeah,
over again, especially during the
yeah.
pandemic, but Ted
Right.
Lasso has been speaking to me
Yeah.
lately.
I might have to go back and watch it again, especially now, like going through all of it, like to see what I
Yeah,
missed, right?
yeah,
What
yeah.
comes in.
Oh, there's so many great, like,
Yeah.
behind like, things that are
Oh,
just
yeah, one-liners.
so
They're so
wonderful.
good.
Yeah.
It's so good. Well, Anna, tell our people how to get in touch with you, and we'll probably add it into the notes. But if people wanted to follow you, what's your Instagram handle or
Yeah,
website?
my Instagram yeah, my website is myrightness.com, rightness.com.
Mm,
My handle is my name, Ana Del Castillo,
mm,
Delcastillo.
mm,
You can find that in all the socials.
mhm.
Um, and I think that that's it for now.
Yeah. Okay. That's
Sometimes I have
good.
like a class or something, but not right now. Oh, I have a book coming out called How to Unproblem Your Problems, and I have 2 journals that I've written. It's like 100 prompt journals. One is, about exploring self-love, how to
Mm.
genuinely explore that, and the other one is self-acceptance.
So good. Well, I know our people would love to grab hold of all that. Thank you. It was so good to re-engage, reunite with you here on Flip Your Lid. So thank you for your time and your incredible wisdom that you share with us today.
It was such a pleasure to first of all, any excuse to spend time with you, I'm a yes to.
Oh,
So
thank
just
you.
thank you for asking.
Yeah,
Thank you for the whole experience. This has been
yeah.
just like spending time with
Mm,
an old friend, which it
yes, yeah,
was.
exactly was. Well, to all of you that are listening, I don't know exactly what you heard today, but I know you heard something that's going to help you reconnect to who you actually are. We'll see y'all next time.
Thank you for listening to Flip Your Lid with Kim Honeycutt. Please subscribe, rate, and share. You can find Kim on Facebook or Instagram at KB Honeycutt. To get an autographed copy of Kim's book, visit butyourmotherlovesyou.com. Remember, no matter what, treat yourself well today.